Okay, folks, welcome to Module 3 of the MSP SEO Masterclass. We've got a couple of members in the call here just now. So David's dealing with a customer at the moment, but hopefully he realizes that we are actually recording. So if there's any questions, we can maybe leave them until the end of the session. If you are there, David, let me just make sure that I'm sharing the right screen here. It looks like it. So you should be able to see my PowerPoint. So in this module, it's all about content. If you're already a member of IT Rockstars, then obviously you're signed up already to the content that you get every month. You get around about 2,000 words. They're broken down into 4 articles. And that content is available to download at the VIP portal. We also have the content as part of a WordPress tool that will automatically get published to your website. But we're going to go into some of the strategy around the content specifically for SEO and some of the things that you can do with the content here at IT Rockstars to help rank you in the search. But if you're coming up with your own content as well, how to get that ranked into the search. Some of the tips and tricks. So we're going to cover the strategy behind it. Some of the tricks. One in particular works really well. That's the item that we're going to be covering that really moves the dial back in the olden days. I'll go into that story in a minute. We're also going to be covering answer target. So that is a quick way to get your content ranked to position basically 0. So not even position 1, but position 0 in the search results. These are the things we're going to be covering in this module. Again, this masterclass is all about quick wins. So it's about minimum effort for maximum result and quickly. So all of these items that we're going to be covering here, they don't take long to do. If you do them, you'll get good results. You'll get them quickly. So the first one, as I say, is a bit about the content strategy. So anytime that you're coming up with content for your website, now obviously you don't have to worry too much about this. If you're already signed up to IT Rockstars, you get all of that content from us every month. But some of the things that you need to be aware of if you're writing your own content or if you're outsourcing the writing to someone else is that it needs to be relevant and it needs to be engaging. The relevancy cannot be understated when it comes to managed services and all of the technical solutions that you offer your clients and what you actually want to rank for. You ideally don't want just one page on a topic. You want your topics to be intertwined, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like in a moment. You also want, however, the content to be digestible. You don't want to confuse the reader. And that can be quite a difficult balance when it comes to talking about the solutions that you provide as a managed service provider. You can quite quickly get the reader will become lost in the content and the technical detail. So it's all about striking a balance and being aware of who you actually want to attract with your content. So you might have a really informative article about a recent ransomware attack, but how relevant is that piece of content to a CEO of a small to medium-sized company that is looking potentially would be interested in managed services and IT support? So you really need to put yourself in the mind of your target prospect and what matters to them in your content. The other thing, not just digestible and engaging, you also want it to be meaty. You want to have content that stands the test of time. Hold on a second here, my camera keeps going off for some reason. I need technical support. So yeah, you want content that's going to stand the test of time. You want it to be meaty. You don't want to be writing just 100 or 200 words, putting it up on your blog and think that's going to start ranking immediately. You're going to need at least 500 words, and you want to be posting up on a regular basis. It's a bit like those YouTubers you see that they're chained to their desk. They have to have a video every single week because the algorithm likes fresh content from your website or from your YouTube channel. So you need to be regularly posting out content for Google to just be there and be ranking it. The topical side of things, we've got a little graphic here on what this looks like. And I'll have to apologize that the fact that my PowerPoint skills are terrible, and that I'm not actually using the PowerPoint. You're just seeing the edit mode to my PowerPoint. That's because I'm going to be playing around with some of it as I talk. But you need interconnectivity in your content. And we discussed this in the last module when we went over links internally in your website, what an internal link would look like. So you're obviously got your homepage at the top. That's like the priority number one when it comes to all of your website pages. You want your homepage to rank number one. So you want all links to go back to your homepage from somewhere. But you have almost like this pyramid structure. And underneath the homepage, the next tier is obviously your services, the services that you provide a lead with, and the ones that you actually want to rank in the search for. And then under that, you have like your blog posts that link to those service pages. And this is where we get into the topical relevance of your content. So let me just, as an example, I'm going to delete these ones here. I'm telling you, when it comes to PowerPoint, I'm your guy. But let's say, for example, we have this Office 365 support blog, and underneath it, we have blog posts about Office 365. You need to be topically relevant in regards to Office 365. Google will like this if you're relevant within this content. And what I mean by that is talking about other relevant areas that are within the realm of Office 365. So you would potentially have a blog post about five great tips for Microsoft Teams, which is obviously, I'm really bad at typing and talking, which is obviously a topic that kind of falls under the Office 365 umbrella. And then it is a case of making sure that when you're posting out onto your blog, you're categorizing your blog posts to the relevant category. So your category would be Office 365 support. And then under that would be your blog posts that are relevant to Office 365 support. Pricing for Office 365. There's another one, price hike for Office 365. And when you have articles like this, which are similar in nature, but fall under the category, in this example, pricing for Office 365, you would link from one to the other. So you would provide an internal link from one to the other, and you would prioritize which one that you want to rank for, which one's more relevant to rank for. So the price hike, that should be price hike for Office 365. That's more of a newsworthy item. That's something that's happening this year. It's not something that happens that often. So you would probably have the link going the other way. You would actually have the mention of the Office 365 pricing page, and then a link to that Office 365 pricing page from the price hike blog post. And then both of those articles would link to your services page about Office 365. And you can see now that if you need to hire me for PowerPoint, you definitely need to hire me because you're giving you a perfect example of why this is. It's a terrible example. I should have come up with this slide prior to recording. So you're gonna have this interlink here to the page that you're wanting to rank for, the pricing for Office 365, but then back to your services page. And this is just about content relevancy. It's potentially something that you're not doing at the moment when it comes to your blog, is interlinking. But it's one of the most powerful things that you can do on your website, because you're telling Google, or you're suggesting to Google, that the prioritization of your pages. And that is basically all to do with PageRank and Google's algorithm and how it figures out which pages to prioritize on your website. And it's all done with these links, these internal links. But if you can also make it topically relevant, where you're talking about something like Office 365, but underneath that umbrella category, you've got Teams, you've got SharePoint, you've got the price hikes, all of these relevant things that would be topical to Office 365. And if you're doing that on a regular basis and you're pointing that back to your services page, you're going to find that's going to help you rank over time. This is not a quick win, by the way, the topical relevance. I would say that going through your blog post at the moment and categorizing all the websites, all of the blogs you've got on your website is going to be a quick win for you, because it's literally just putting them in a category and adding the relevant link to the relevant page. Now, obviously, if you're a member of IT Rockstars, you have the Vault access as well, where you can get 3 years worth of content. So if you don't have any content on your website, you can go into the Vault once you've been with us for about 3 months, and you can gain access to something like 250 pieces of content, lead magnets and whatnot, within that Vault. And that'll give you access to everything that you need within there to build out your website. Next, I want to talk about content tricks for your site. This is so for your content, sorry. This is more of it's not so much a hack, but it is an engagement strategy. That's the way I can put it. One of the things that Google measures when users are on your website, and this is like a proven fact, is to do with the bounce rate. So if someone goes to a web page on your website, say they're searching for Office 365 services, and your result comes up in the results, Google's measuring to see if that user goes back to the search results or if they stay on your page. Now, they do that through obviously things like their search engine, but they can also monitor it on Google Analytics, and they can monitor it in the Chrome browser. So they've got a number of bases covered in where they will monitor these types of interactions. But if you can engage the users and suck them into your website, you're going to find that content will rank higher in Google, because Google realizes, those users that are going there are staying there. They're not coming back to Google for the search result. And Google wants to give its users the best search results possible on the search. So if you can provide engaging content for your users, you're going to find that it's much likely it's going to rank higher in the search. I do apologize about my camera. I'm not sure why it keeps going on and off. Maybe it's just overheating or something, who knows? But one of the best ways to engage the users is at the very start of the content. We obviously covered the headline in module, I think it was module 2. We covered the headline hack that you can do about making your headlines clickable in the search results. This is really just an extension of that headline hack, and drawing the user in. Who on the screen is a guy called Brian D. He is an SEO expert. He's got a website called Backlink.io, and he's got some amazing strategies when it comes to SEO. One of them is the APP formula. APP stands for Agree, Promise, and Preview. And what we do here at IT Rockstars, and what you should be doing in your own content, if you're writing your own stuff, is at the very start of the blog post, make sure you are deploying the APP method or formula, as I've called it. And that is basically a structure that you follow in the very first few paragraphs of your blog post or any of the content on your website. It could be a page within your website as well. It's more relevant to blog posts and content though. And I'm going to give you an example of what that would be like. So the agreement statement is where you're agreeing with the website visitor about something. So in the example I'm going to give you, I'm sure that we can agree that cyber threats in 2022 are becoming bigger and bigger. We've just heard that there's some Eastern Asia countries that have been hit by power outages, and it's potentially because of cyber attacks. So you're in that very first statement, you're agreeing with the website visitor or your prospect about something that's happening in the world or something related to your content. So you're empathizing with them, agreeing with them about a statement. So from the cyber perspective, you would agree with them. Like, if you haven't been hit with a cyber incident, then I'm sure you'll agree with me. You're probably a very lucky business if you haven't been hit already. So that's something you would agree in. The promise of this piece of content. So we're going to say we're going to be talking about cyber threats and how to reduce the risk. So the promise would be promising you're going to deliver the reader something within the content. So for this example, we would maybe say something like, in this article, you're going to learn the 3 top tips to reduce your risk of a ransomware attack. So that's the promise. You're going to promise you're going to deliver this really useful piece of information to them in the content that they're just about to read. And then the preview is actually delivering the best piece of value up front before they even get into the article. And the reason that you want to have that up front and center, is because if they've given away your best thing first, they're far more likely to read further down. So the preview would be, now it would be something like, by far the number one tip when it comes to reducing your risk from cyber threats is by educating your staff. And here's exactly how you can do that. So that's the preview. So that is the APP formula. We follow that consistently here at IT Rockstars in the content that we provide our members. Any majority of the articles that you'll in the vault and the ones that you read on a regular basis, if you're downloading the content and uploading it, you're going to find they follow this formula and it engages the user. That's what it's all about. You'll find YouTubers do exactly the same thing in their videos. They're following a similar formula when it comes to how they start off a video. They're doing something like this, empathizing with the audience, and then they're going to promise something, again, an overview of what the video is about, and then a really nugget of information right at the very start. Those are some of the best videos. So that's the number one content hack you can do on your website, on your blog posts. As I say, majority of the content in IT Rockstars already has that within it. It used to be in the olden days, there was a lot more content hacks that you could do. So it was all about keyword stuffing. So you could stuff lots of keywords that you wanted to rank for, things like Office 365 support, IT services. You could stuff that into your content and it would help you rank. It doesn't work like that. You need to have the relevancy of the content that's been regularly posted, that's interlinked, and it's linking back to the pages that you're trying to rank for. Next up, we've got answer targets. Now, the answer target, I've got a good example here of what an answer target actually is. Answer targets are the quickest way to rank out with the backpack. And you can rank answer targets in a number of hours on your website. And the best types of answer targets are ones that are local. Obviously, you can go and do searches on Google to see if there's already answer targets that exist. But the ones that I've got here, I'm going to go through a few of them here. This will give you an idea of what actually an answer target is. And I'm going to show you how you can actually rank your website as an answer target so that you can get an immediate ranking. And what they call this, you can see it here. The user types in a question to Google and the answer is actually presented with them in the search result. So in here, we've got how do I secure my internet connection? And we've got the answer of probably one of the best ways to do it. It's a list that we've got here in this one. So it's got 8 steps to it. And you can see that content within the search result itself. So I'm not actually having to go to the blog page or the blog post to read up what the answer to that is. And that's what Google has. It does it quite regularly now with a lot of key questions that you might have. Easiest types of answer targets to rank for are targets that already exist. So if you do a search for something and there's already an answer target for that question, that's the easiest type of answer target to rank for. It's much more difficult to rank for targets that don't exist. So just a little note there. If you're going to plan to put in any of these answer targets onto your website, just to note, have a look for answer targets specifically locally that may already exist. Another answer target example. Here we go. Camera's off again. Turn it back on. I think it might be out of memory, actually. Let me just check my memory here. Not too bad. Right, another example of an answer target, and this is a tabled answer target. So the last one was a list. This one we have a table of antivirus software, how they were rated, and the prices of them. And you can see the question I put into Google for this answer target to come up. How much is antivirus software usually cost? And that is coming up at position 0. So it's just coming below the ads. Again, you go straight to the top if you can get that answer target. Final example here is, what are managed IT services. This is a really bad example because it's a really stupid question. And most of your prospects probably aren't asking this question. They're probably looking for IT support. They're not maybe wondering what managed IT services is unless you're mentioning it in a contract, in which case they probably already found you. But in this example, you've got the question, which is my search. And then you've got the answer as a paragraph. And this is the answer target here. And again, it's ranked at position 0. And users can actually, you can see back down the bottom right there, they can actually feed back. So if your question is wrong or if it's off, there's a good likelihood that you find that there'll be people that'll click that feedback and tell Google that it's wrong. So you got to make sure that your answers are correct. So how do we rank? Well, as I mentioned already, go for ones that already exist. What you want to do is write up content, frequently asked questions page on your website would be a really good idea. Another way to do it is to actually include it within content that's already on your website. So include it already maybe within a blog post that's already there. But you want to write your question in the H1 or H2 tag. And then you want to provide the answer in a short, concise paragraph under 100 words and concise. So don't ramble like I'm doing here in this masterclass. Make sure the information that you're provided in that answer is relevant and it makes sense, and that you're not bumbling along. That's the way I can explain it. You do have a few opportunities with the answer targets. So as I mentioned, you've got lists, you've got questions, there's tables, and there's locally relevance as well. Think about questions that maybe someone would be putting into the search that have a local term or a location. So where's the best place? What VoIP providers are there in my state? All right. And another really bad example. But if you can come up with these questions and include them in your content with the answer, you're going to rank these answer targets, which are extremely quick to rank for. Anyway, that is it for module 3. As I said, these are short, concise nuggets of information that you can take away and that you can action on. The biggest opportunity out of these has got to be the links that we've already just covered. Going back to your website, and I think we mentioned it already in the previous module, there's a WordPress plugin called Link Whisperer. It will go and do a report and it will tell you where you can put internal links, what pages are missing internal links. So that's the biggest opportunity in this module. Just to recap, content strategy. If you're already a member of IT Rockstars, the content that we provide you every month, 2,000 words, is going to be more than enough. And to have that content in place, you don't necessarily need a strategy. Some of the things you might be doing with that content is making it more localized. So including local keywords, local locations within that content, altering it slightly, putting in things like your answer targets in there so that you can rank position 0. That's it for module 3. See you in module 4.